Hi everyone, we are back, VietKieu Perspective channel. We have our own channel, is Nâng Nhau Lên channel, and mine is VietKieu Media. So today we are at VietKieu Perspective channel. We talk about a little bit of what happened to the plane crash 2 days ago in Seoul.
Air Flight 2216 landed at Muan International Airport when the plane went off the runway and crashed into a wall. The Transport Ministry rushing to the scene to investigate the crash. Prior to the plane's crash landing, the control tower issued a warning about a possible bird strike, according to the ministry. Video from the scene also appears to show that the landing gear was up when the plane touched down. JEJU Air is a South Korean low-cost carrier that operates an all-Boeing fleet. A spokesperson with Boeing says, quote, "We extend our deepest condolences to the families who lost loved ones."
And our South Korea. The route was took off from Bangkok, Thailand, go toward Seoul, and it's crashed as it's landed. So with the news, everything, I'm going to share the news on this clip so you can follow. But what do you think? What happened, Derek? Please.
Yeah. Well, if you saw the video, I'm sure you saw it on TV too. Everybody saw the video on TV.
Yeah.
The plane came down, skidded on the runway, and skidded off the runway at the end of the runway, ran into a wall, hit the wall. 170 people died. Only 2 people survived. It's pretty sad story. It shouldn't have happened, but based on, of course, they're going to do a full investigation to find out exactly what caused it. But based on the video we've seen so far, I hone in on the landing gear, because as you saw in the video, as the plane came in, the landing gears came down, no problem. I mean, it looks fine. The plane landed right at the right runway, the correct runway. Right? It did land, so it's not like, and the engine was on, so the engine wasn't off or anything.
The weather is pretty reasonable. I mean, okay.
You know, because if the pilot can't see the runway, it wouldn't land. He wouldn't land at the runway.
Wouldn't land on the runway. Yeah.
So that's not the problem. The problem was when it landed, the landing gear somehow collapsed, and so it skidded on its stomach, right, on its belly, and then of course it can't stop itself, because when it landed on its belly, they can't use brakes on the tires because the tires are gone, right? It's all collapsed. They can't use reverse thrust because the engine had collapsed onto the runway. Okay, because usually when an airplane lands, they do reverse thrust. So instead of the engine spewing air toward the back, it goes towards the front.
Yeah,
so that it slows the plane down. So when all those systems are gone, they can't stop the plane. And so the only thing the plane could do was skid it off the runway, and of course it hit the wall.
So on one of the video I saw, it have like the landing gear, the wheel came out, the main wheel came out, but for some reason it fell back on, collapsed as it's landed, right?
Yeah.
So right now we're looking at, media. They talk about a lot of news. Talk about first of all, they talk about the weather, the bird. A bunch of birds. It flew into the engine, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
And why when you look at one of the angle showing that the plane go pretty fast toward the end of the runway and hit into the concrete. Why they don't create any kind of sand on the side like we seeing here? We're going Vegas. We see a lot of side road or emergency truck is having issue with the brake. They can go into those sand.
That's right.
Stop the truck, slowing the truck down. Why did they do that? I mean, I see a lot of issue going on with the landing gear. Let's see the land. If you go back, look at percentage of the most incident happened during landing and departing. Okay, plane. Those are two critical happen. Fatal things can kill a lot of people. So why don't they create something like that?
Well, first it's cost, because someone has suggested that a long time ago. Actually, I saw that back in the 80s. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Where at the end of every runway they have a big field of sand, kind of like the beach sand. So
Yeah.
if the aircraft happens to overshoot the runway, the sand will stop it by itself. Okay, so in this case, it would have stopped the plane. It would slow the plane down. You know, if it's long enough. But the problem is cost, right? Not only cost for the sand, which is minuscule, but the cost for the land. Because you know, at airports, especially the ones that are close to the city, land is expensive. So then, and then of course, they can't make the airport that big because of the regulation. You know, they can't infringe on population, right? So in case like in Seoul, that's a big city, right? Land is very limited. So that could be the reason why. But I think with this accident, they might have to open that land up, you know, just so that they can build the sand pit, basically.
I don't think we need to add more land. All you need to do is to cut back half a mile or you know, a quarter mile with sand on the side.
No, you can't.
So you can go like that.
No.
You go on the side.
No, the runway has to be long enough because not all planes
No.
will skid off
I
the
mean,
runway.
runway keep it at the same lane.
Yeah.
But however, the side of the runway, on the side runway, instead of the empty field, they put on a lot of sand.
Well,
so the pilot can steer to the right.
He can't. That's the thing. Remember
Out of control.
when he landed the plane and the gears collapsed, he has no control anymore. So he can't just steer on the right or left, right? He's at the mercy of the plane now. You know, physics, right? There's no control left.
No control. Okay.
You know? So because all the hydraulics at the bottom probably got ripped off, so he can't control anything.
So what you're saying here is maybe malfunction on the landing gear.
Yeah,
maybe
I think so.
It fall back
It
up.
collapsed.
It open up because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, that the landing gear beside the signal in the cockpit, the pilot can see from the camera when the wheel come out. There's the camera.
Well,
at the
usually
bottom.
they have lights, right, on the in the cockpit, where when you deploy the landing gear, you have 3 lights. If they are green, that means it's good. Okay, I'm sure the pilot probably saw 3 greens, so in his mind it's like, okay, good. But when he landed, somehow the gears collapsed anyways. So even if he could see out, you know, the camera and saw the landing gears came down, but he can't see the mechanism inside the landing gear that says it's locked. Okay. So then first they have to investigate, did he actually see the 3 lights? Okay. And the cockpit recorder will tell them that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, every time they do anything in the cockpit, they have to say it. Right? Like the 2 pilots, you know, the main pilot and the co-pilot.
Yeah.
Sometimes the main pilot would tell the co-pilot to lower the landing gear, or he lower it himself.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when they do that, they always repeat it. They always say landing gear is good. Okay, confirm. You know.
Yeah.
But if he didn't say that, and he just pushed the button, okay, he just lowered the landing gear button, and he didn't say that, that means he wasn't sure. He didn't confirm it. So then it becomes his fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Operator.
Yeah, because if
pilot error.
for those who are pilots, you guys know, if you fly a plane, what they call complex plane, complex plane it just means the plane has landing gears that can fold up. So when you come in for landing and you lower the landing gear and you don't see the 3 lights, then you go around again. You have to turn on the, you know, rev up the engine and just go around again until you fix the landing gear.
A lot of planes have an issue. This is not on the first time. Many in the past, many aircraft have issue with the landing gear. So what happened? They went back on to the sky and go around and around until they empty the fuel, and then they're going to land.
Yeah, so that they lower the weight.
The last.
So they have to come in very, very slow, so that they can minimize
the impact
if they have to. But a lot of times they just fold up as they go around. They fold up the landing gear and open it again, and it works again. You know, if that's the case, then no problem. They just come in for landing. But yeah, in that case, it could be that, or if the pilot confirmed that they saw the 3 green lights, then it's not his fault. then it's a mechanical fault inside that caused it to collapse anyways. It's not locked. Now, what caused that? Was that fatigue? Okay, they didn't inspect correctly, or is it sabotage even? We didn't talk about that. Somebody went in there and cut that. And why?
We kind of mentioned about that's one of the factor we look into it. What about the pilot? I mean, the aircraft is out of control, so the aircraft with the high speed hitting the concrete. You think that the aircraft maybe want to, you know, a lot of people talk about he wanted to suicide? I mean,
No, not in this case.
Not in this case.
Yeah, not in this case. Because if it's a suicide, he wouldn't land the plane. He would just crash the plane.
Crash the plane
while it's flying.
Yeah.
Why would he come in and line up on the runway at the right runway, right? Land the aircraft like normal.
Okay.
That's not a sabotage. You
Okay.
know?
Yeah. That's
So,
but when we look at investigate, you have to look in different angle, right?
yeah.
So what about we talked earlier in about space shuttle? They used the technology 40 years ago, the parachute.
Yeah.
Slow now. If you look at, I'm going to put in the clip a little bit of the clip of how the space shuttle landing in Edward Airport, where the parachute came. Deployed. So slow down the aircraft.
Yeah,
so
the parachute.
Why Boeing not doing that?
Yeah, the civilian airplanes don't have that. Military aircraft do. Some, like the SR-71, the F-4 fighter in Vietnam, they have parachutes that come out the back to slow it down.
Slow it down.
Because
Correct.
They fly so fast when they come and land that they can't slow down by any other means. So they have to have a parachute deployed.
Yeah.
The airlines could do that. Of course, increase the price, the cost.
I mean,
Right.
safety would, instead of 179 people get killed.
That would be.
I think that if the incident happened 2 days ago in Korea, if you have the parachute come out, at least 1 or 3 come out, will slow down the plane for sure, and less fatality.
Yeah, maybe
people
they
get
should
killed.
do a combination of both, with the sand
sand
pit and the
And
parachute.
the parachute. All we have to do is
The
Boeing.
parachute in the back is not that much money, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the FAA certification that costs a lot of money, you know, because they have to go through every plane, every inch, you know, to make sure that the structure of the plane will be able to handle the parachute, you know, all that kind of stuff.
This is one of the features that for emergency, you know, something happened, so many, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
You know, like add on the feature emergency, the pilot confirm and shoot out of those parachutes.
Parachute, yeah.
Yeah. You know, like back in 2001 happened is that, remember the Twin Tower from New York get, hijacked, those planes. After that, I believe that all the cockpit now is well locked and bulletproof.
Yeah,
you cannot
bulletproof
get
doors,
through
yeah.
those doors. So that so they look into that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
hopefully,
you know, if you were in the aviation world, they have a saying that all the safety features in aviation is built on blood. Okay, somebody have to die first before they do something.
oh well, yeah.
You know,
Of
it's
course,
usually
yeah.
like that in,
Yeah.
in aviation.
Yeah.
Because they always weigh the cost and benefit, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen often, then they're not gonna do that. But in this case, 170 people died. That's a lot of people.
A lot of people. I
You
feel
know.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the insurance, imagine the insurance would justify the parachute. I don't think it costs that much
yeah,
to install parachute.
FAA
You know what I mean?
must look into this
Yeah.
and make all aircraft, civilian aircraft, have the parachutes. That's how I look at it.
To slow it down, not to, you know, to come out of the sky.
Look,
We're saying
even
to slow it down.
the plane having some issue up in the, they can slow down with the open up the air chute. If it going down, slow down and to the ocean. A lot of aircraft.
Yeah, that's another issue. 'Cause
That's-
then you
no,
have to
no.
have a big parachute and, you know, the weight and all that stuff.
The weight,
Yeah.
okay. That
But
big air chute.
a simple, small parachute in the tail of the plane,
Yeah.
that's possible.
That's possible, right?
Yeah.
Because when you go down, you with all the rotor and
Yeah.
slow down the plane,
If,
slow the
if
aircraft.
everything fails, you can deploy that and slow the plane down.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
every other system is gone. When the landing gear collapses and the plane is on its belly, it drags the engine, so you can't reverse thrust the engine. So you don't have that. You probably don't have any controls anymore because the hydraulic lines are cut, right? So hydraulics control the control surface. You don't have that anymore. So the only thing you really have is really if they mount the parachute high, right, on the tail a little bit, you deploy that, and that's your last ditch,
Yep.
safety.
Yep. Safety.
And then
Safety
you
net.
have the sand pit too.
Help.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
believe that at least more than 50% of the people who
Yeah,
hurt
definitely.
will survive.
Yeah.
Will survive. At least
Definitely.
50%.
Yeah.
100 people for sure.
Yeah.
With the sand and a parachute.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that hopefully that we can share some good things through FAA, through NTSA, to look
NTSB,
into this
yeah.
kind of look into this kind of issue.
Yeah.
You know.
And it goes into VietKieu perspective because we are more innovative now, right? A lot of VietKieu.
Exactly. We have it here. We need to transfer, give it out.
Because I remember when we first came to America, and I, as a kid, I always asked my dad, why didn't Vietnamese people do this more and that? And he said, because we've been so poor for so long, all we could think about was where we can find food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where we can make enough money to eat. So you don't have any other time to think about innovation. But now we do.
Now we do.
Now a lot of VietKieu are rich. Even
Yeah.
people in Vietnam are rich now.
Mhm.
They have time to think about things like that.
Yeah.
Innovation, safety.
Creative.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Vietnam can be the pioneer in this. They can install the sand pit in Tân Sơn Nhất Airport now if they want to.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It's good
To be
publicity.
the first one.
It's good publicity too,
exactly,
right?
to
They
safety.
publicize and say, hey, in light of what happened in South Korea, we're gonna do this first.
Implement it. Yeah.
Implement it first. So when you land in Vietnam, come to Vietnam.
Safe. Safe.
When
yeah.
you land in Vietnam, even if
And-
all your systems are gone, you'll still survive.
I think the Vietnam.
come,
Vietnam doing this.
Come and
everybody will
invest.
follow.
Yeah.
Vietnam do this. Everybody will follow.
Yeah.
Hanoi, Da Nang, and Saigon.
Yeah.
Those are three main international places.
Yeah.
People feel safe.
Yeah.
You do
And
something for the.
It is
for
not
the-
high tech. All you got to do is lengthen that area, right?
Correct.
At the end of the runway and put sand in it. That's all you need to do.
Correct.
It's not high tech. It's simple,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you can publicize it for the whole world and say Vietnam's the first to do this. Come to our country.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And you be safe.
Exactly.
So-
you need the rocket science to do something like this, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's possible to do it.
Yeah.
And the sand is one of the things. If you crash into the sand instead of concrete, I think that chance 50% of people will survive.
Yeah.
Chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about sand is that it slows you down slowly, right? Because the sand will dissipate
Will
the
dissipate,
energy,
Yeah.
and then even if the wings, the engines catch on fire, it's not as bad
Yeah.
because the sand would dissipate the heat,
Sure. Yeah.
and then you have time to get out.
Sure. That's
so-
why all the road to the
Yeah.
on the highway 15.
I mean, they can do that
they-
for trucks.
When you come down
You
from the up high mountain, that's the side of the road. So for all the 18-wheeler have a issue with the brake, they pull into there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, half mile, it's okay. Or a quarter mile, it's okay too.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of tasks, do a lot of R&D, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we look at it. Part of my job, I'm doing a lot of PA, preventive action.
Oh, okay.
Kappa is too late.
Yeah.
Now we're
That's
doing
right.
the CA,
Yeah.
corrective
That's right.
action.
Yeah.
Now I think we need to be proactive.
Yeah.
Especially Vietnam, we're
Yeah.
gonna we learn from it. We see people die from it. Do it,
Yeah.
right?
Because the last thing, because Vietnam is trying to innovate now, right?
Yeah.
Try to attract more business, more innovation, more engineers, more high-tech people. The last thing you want to do is have something like that happen. People just have a bad taste about Vietnam. You don't want that.
Yep.
And you want to install it now so that you look like you're forward thinking.
And you
right?
care for the people.
Yeah.
You care for everybody, the human.
You go first.
You care
You
for
know?
the human.
Yeah.
Right. You
Yeah.
go first. You do something that possible can be done. Possible can be done.
Yeah. And then
Right?
you publicize it.
All right. I think
So-
that today I think that that topic pretty. That if in the future there's more things come out from it, we share to the audience. However, that anything you want to share besides?
Well, it's part of our VietKieu perspective, and I think a lot of us have a lot of things that we can add to the world. For a long time, we haven't been able to, because like my dad said, back then, we can only find food, right? That's all our time is spent on finding money, to eat. But now we don't have to. So now we can contribute to the world in a more innovative way in every aspect, in every market. Not only high tech, but as we talked about before, fashion. We talk about music. We talk
Culture, fashion,
about every aspect.
Entertainment,
Yeah.
sport.
So
You name
something new, right?
Yeah.
Like in the food industry, for example, they have what they call Asian fusion, right?
Asian fusion.
A lot of Vietnamese, the young guys, they grow up in Vietnam. I mean, in Vietnam and here.
Uh-huh.
So they combine the two, food,
Terrific. Yeah.
and they call it fusion,
yeah.
right?
Sure.
So then you have the half Vietnamese, half American style, and it comes up with a different taste.
Just like look at the coffee here.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vietnamese coffee is much different than the Starbucks. You go into like one of the coffee we always hang around here in Garden Grove, Finn Smith. They have a coconut coffee. I'm sure that Vietnamese in Vietnam they have a coconut coffee, but here they make a little bit different for the people who live
not only
in the
that.
local area. So I mean, very creative.
Yeah. Not only that, you try to tell Starbucks to reduce sugar or to increase the sweetness, they won't do it. But Vietnamese coffee, you can ask them, oh, I just want 75%, I just want 50% sugar, and they make it for you. See, that's something different. And that's the reason why, like in Saigon now, Starbucks is all gone. They can't compete.
Uh-huh.
They can't compete with
Can't
the
compete,
Vietnamese
right?
coffee.
With the can't compete with the coffee.
Yeah.
Of course, the coffee bean is coming from different area, not from Starbucks. But Starbucks, you go in Starbucks in America, in Orange County and LA County, you see they have a Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah,
You look
they
at
copy,
you're
okay.
you're
They
looking,
copy it,
you're
right.
looking on the menu. They have Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
One thing my wife hates, she hates copycats like that, right? She's like, it's our culture, okay? Don't copy, and then screw it up, because that's what people do,
yeah.
right? They wouldn't call it, because I've seen it. I've seen some American people, they start like a bánh mì sandwich, and they screwed it up. It's not really bánh mì, they call it bánh mì. I'm like, man, don't even embarrass yourself, okay? Like pho, for example, my dad is a big tickler for pho, right? Because he was born in North Vietnam. He was born in Hanoi, okay? Pho, he said, has to be made by Northern Vietnamese. Phải Bắc Kỳ mới được. Because if you don't, then it doesn't taste like pho.
The style, right?
He said, especially if the Chinese do it, forget it. Chinese is hủ tiếu. They have the best hủ tiếu, okay? Hủ tiếu Chinese, okay? But the problem is, if they apply that same cooking style to pho, they screw it up. Then it's not pho. Like, did you know this? Anh người Bắc, right?
Yeah.
But you grew up in the
I was
South.
born and raised in Vietnam in South. Yeah.
Same thing here. But did you know that người Bắc do not eat bean sprouts with pho?
Oh
That's-
yeah,
that's southern.
you go Hanoi, you don't see a lot of vegetable
Yeah.
or bean sprout. No,
I couldn't
only
believe
in
it.
Vietnam.
Because
style.
when my dad was alive, and we would go to pho, he never eats that. And I said, why? He said, get a Nam, right? Get a southern.
Yeah.
He's northern.
That's
He doesn't
true.
eat
That's
that.
true. Yeah.
But to me and you, we're like, hey, that's great,
Oh yeah.
Put giá in there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Put bean sprout. I
A
don't
lot
care.
of men, a lot of different the vegetable with the pho.
Yeah.
But the northern, even now, you go to Hanoi, you eat pho.
Yeah.
They don't give you a lot of vegetable
Yeah.
unless you ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
don't give
it's
you
a
that.
slightly different taste,
Yeah.
even the broth.
Correct.
It's slightly different.
Sure.
In South Vietnam, the pho has more of a sugary taste, right? Because người Nam thích ngọt, right?
Yeah.
They like sweet.
They like sweet.
So they put sugar in it. But in the north, no.
Okay.
You do that and you get my dad very upset. He's like, no. It's kind of like a cultural thing to him.
Yeah.
It's more than just food.
More culture
right?
thing. Huh?
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it's different different taste to things.
Before we end it, this clip, we will share as much as we can. So first of all, the English version, we're going to have it on the VietKieu Perspective channel. However, we will share, if you want to, you can subtitle in Vietnamese and put on your channel, and then I'll do the same thing on my channel with the English talking, but the subtitle in Vietnamese, so we can put it out so a lot of the audience can watch them.
Okay.
Okay, you think it's a good idea?
Yeah. One other thing I want to add is the thing about Vietnam right now. I think it's still better because I went to Vietnam a few years ago, but VinFast sent me, and we went on Vietnam Airlines. Right? The flight attendants, man, they're beautiful. Okay, if you wanted to, in America they can't do that. Okay, because of equality laws, they gotta hire everybody, and so you get flight attendants that are overweight, that are old. I'm sorry, I mean, no. Okay, in Vietnam and in other Asian airlines too, other countries like what is that? The Middle Eastern airline. What is that airline? The Middle Eastern
The
airline.
Middle East Airline, Egyptian Air, or the one in Dubai.
Not Dubai Airlines.
Dubai,
Something,
Dubai Airlines.
something airlines. But anyways, they have the most beautiful flight attendants.
Oh wow.
Same thing with Vietnam Airlines.
Vietnam Airlines, yeah.
You know,
Vietnamese,
they can do that
Vietnamese,
because Vietnamese law is different.
Vietnamese
okay?
people is nice,
Yeah.
especially the
In
girls,
America,
right?
yeah, in America they can't. Well, you got to be equal. You got to hire everybody. I'm like, no, okay, because if you really think about it, think about this, okay?
Discriminate. You can discriminate here, right?
Yeah, but it's ridiculous discrimination. It's not discrimination because here's why, okay? In the world of flight, the less weight you carry, the more weight you have for passengers paying. So if you a pilot or a flight attendant, you have to weigh less. If you weigh more, it costs the airlines more, right?
Okay.
And you have to be skinny.
Skinny.
Why? Because you got to go through the aisle.
Not only just the look, but
It's for safety,
weight,
right? If something goes wrong, you better run through the aisle quick. And if you overweight, you can't run as fast because you're gonna hit everybody.
Yeah.
But they don't think that way in America. They're like, oh, equality. I'm like, to hell with equality.
EOE, right?
Because this has something to do with safety and also money. So the less you weigh, the more money you make.
I see.
Because then you can charge the customers more, right? Customers can carry more baggage, for example, right? So therefore, that's more money. But in America, that to me that makes no sense. And here's another thing too. And you guys can call me sexist. I don't care, okay? Because it's biology. Blame God, okay? Here's the thing too. When you were born, most likely, who was the first to feed you? When you were born,
Who was the first what?
to feed you,
Oh, mom. My mom.
Mom.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Is it your dad? No,
No.
It's a woman. It's not a man, all right? And so when she fed you, did she just stuff food in your mouth, milk in your mouth? Or was she more nung niu, right?
Yeah.
She, loving,
Gently,
gentle, caring,
Uh-huh.
right? She talk in a soft voice. Okay, so it's ingrained in our psyche that woman means comfort, man means rough. You see that? So a flight attendant, and they know this when the aircraft industry just came about 100 years ago, they use women for flight attendants for that reason. Okay, because at that time flying was scary to people. It's new.
Caring.
Right?
Service.
They're very scary.
Services.
So when they want to alleviate people's fear of flying, they put a woman to care for them. The woman's voice is more soothing.
Yeah.
Did you know this? U.S. Navy, okay, in their fighter aircraft, all right. I don't know if they still do that.
The
but
co-pilot
at first-
is a female.
No. In a fighter aircraft, when they have warnings, right, or voice warnings, they use a female voice. Why?
Oh,
Because it's more soothing. That's why.
Is that right?
When you're flying, okay, and something goes wrong, all right, you don't want some man's voice and say, "You're gonna die," okay? You're gonna, right? You're gonna panic, right? You have to have a soothing female voice, and say, something like, "Fire left engine, fire left engine." Okay, that's why. So the female voice is very soothing, and everybody, even my wife said it. She said when she goes to a restaurant, she would rather have a female waitress. She's a woman. My wife's a woman. Why? Because it harks back to the days when we were born. The first meal that we were served to.
Most likely
the
gonna
woman.
be the women. Yeah.
And not only a woman, a young woman, your mom.
Yeah.
Why? because if she was old, she wouldn't be able to have kids,
Uh-huh.
right?
I
So
kinda-
she's right. You see what I'm saying? This is not sexist now. This is biology.
Sure.
Okay, so then this is where I think America went wrong. But if you go to Asian airlines, okay, very few male flight attendants, mostly female, and they're very pretty. Why? Because it's more pleasant to look at, because you already scared of freaking flying. Some people are,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm sure.
You already scared,
After,
and you
after
already
this happened, I mean, people are scared to fly
You already stuffed in a very confined space like sardines with everybody
for 10 hours on the side.
right? So you don't want abrasive people, but now flight attendants are very abrasive. American flight attendants, they're rough, man.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
yeah.
All for equality, and that's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. The service is. I heard that too. I heard the same
terrible.
thing. American airline is not
Don't do
not
that.
great like some other airline. I heard that too. I realized that too. You know.
Yeah. So no, I mean Vietnam has it right, just like any other foreign airline.
Foreign airline.
Right? They have it right because the Vietnam Airlines, those women are very, there were male flight attendants too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Those guys are nice too. You know, they're really pleasant guys. You know, they're not abrasive.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody, I think they don't want to admit it. Even women, they prefer female voice, female service.
Service people. Wonderful.
You know.
All right. So with that, I think that we can conclude this clip. Enough for today, and then we'll have more guests coming to this channel, VietKieu Perspective. First of all, probably Dino or Mark will be here. We share a story like today, and then one of the ongoing issue, so we can dissect them, so we can share with the audience.
Any
Okay?
new happenings that's coming up, then we can talk about it.
Talk
from
about
our
it.
perspective.
More in Vietnamese.
Because you guys seen on American media all of their perspective, but what we want to provide is our perspective, which is really your perspective, being
Correct.
VietKieu too.
Sure.
You know, you have a slightly different view of, especially anything to do with Vietnam.
Yeah.
We know different, you
Yeah.
know, than American.
Sure.
You know, so
Sure. All right. Beside that,
All
thank you very
right.
much. Happy New Year.
Happy New
And
Year.
see you.
Bye bye.
Great 2025. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.